They wander the terrain searching for food, which they then bring back to their nests. Now, you might be wondering, how do they find their way back? Well, they use pheromone trails. When they find food, they start setting a pheromone trail that leads to their nest again. These ants are getting ready to explore the world. Maybe for the first time, maybe for the second time, or maybe for the last time. Who knows? Ants are one of the few creatures that actually build graveyards for their dead. Instead of leaving them where they died, they pick them up and take them with a pile of other dead ants. Then they leave it. Ants have special pheromones for different jobs. Ants, some ants smell like workers, some ants smell like a soldier, some ants smell like a queen, and even some smell like male ants. It just all comes down to what they do. Then there's different pheromones for different activities. When an ant finds a new tasty food, they start putting down a pheromone trail that lets other ants know that they have found a tasty food. There's also fighting pheromones. When an ant comes across an insect that is not an ant or an ant from a foreign colony. There are different jobs that ants can have. Sometimes they can be a scout. Sometimes they can be a soldier who protects their colony from danger. And then there's just foragers who find the food. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff for an ant to do. So how do they know that they're the right ant for it? Well, it just depends on age. New worker ants dig tunnels in the nest, and worker ants can become soldier ants. It also depends on size too. So, a tiny ant can't become a soldier ant. The bigger the ant is, the more likely it would be the soldier ant. Super major ants are huge ants that are if you see them, they're most likely a soldier. Smaller ants tend to be foragers who look for food for the nest and set down food pheromone trails. Any ant of any age, though, can set down a fighting pheromone. This alerts other ants in the colony that there is an enemy and that they need to be taken care of. They will typically call multiple ants at a time. Okay, so more about jobs. Ant jobs, they, of course, depend on age. And ants that are young dig tunnels in the nest. and create new chambers. When they get a little bit older, they will start working in a nursery. The nursery is for the baby ants, which we'll get to in a second. And basically, they feed them, and they take care of them. The eggs are laid by the queen. No ant who is born as a worker can ever become the queen. Queens are born specially with wings and slightly larger heads than a male ant. If you spot a queen ant in your house, get rid of them immediately. They will start an ant colony in your house whenever they get the chance to. And you don't want them to do that because that means you have to deal with ants in your house. Ants also, when they get old enough, then they will start foraging and sometimes even guarding. Typically, guarding is an older job, though, for older ants. Typically, the ants you see fighting are actually pretty old. The old ants of the colony. So that means you're watching a bunch of old ladies fighting. Male ants are special, and they're called that because they're the only ants that are male. Workers, soldiers, and of course the queen are female. If they turn out being male, they will have wings and a very small head, typically smaller than a queen's. Though this depends on what species they are. Some species do not have queens at all, but they have males. Also, some ants have multiple queens, not just one. Most colonies, though, prefer one queen. But having two queens greatly depends on what species it is, and it also can be better for the colony. But sometimes usually when the ant first workers come through, they will choose only one queen to follow and kill the other by tearing her apart. Now, my ants that I'm showing in here are pretty ruthless. I put some ants in here, like those ants that looked like the typical ants you would see outside in there. And they easily ate a bunch of them. Those ants that I showed in the beginning, those large groups, I have no idea what you're doing. So if you were an ant specialist, like someone who specializes in ants, please tell me, because I've never seen that behavior in ants before. At first, it looked like they were having a nuptial flight, which is when the queens and male ants fly to mate with each other. And then I noticed there were several clusters of these ants, and they were all from the same colony. I started to wonder if it was an ant war because I saw some ants that looked different, but I don't know. If you know what it is, just say it in the comments, because I don't really want to use like emails to contact, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather keep it, I'd rather keep my email private. Thank you. Anyway, bye all y'all. Have a good day.